The shift. There comes a moment in life when you just get tired. Not physically, but emotionally. Tired of always being available, always explaining, always showing up in ways that leave you empty. It doesn't happen with a big announcement or a dramatic goodbye. One day without warning, something inside you just clicks. You stop chasing people. You stop overthinking every message or silence. You stop trying to be everything for everyone. And when that happens, everything around you begins to shift. You're not colder. You're not mean. You're simply clearer about what you will and won't accept. People start to notice, not because you're making noise, but because your quiet speaks louder than ever before. You begin to feel something you may not have felt in a long time: peace. The old self. Before everything changed, you were always available, always picking up the phone, replying quickly, saying yes even when your heart was screaming no. You gave your time, your energy, your emotions without limits. You became the person everyone could count on. Even when you couldn't count on them, you stayed in conversations that drained you, kept showing up in places that made you feel small, and continued explaining yourself just to feel understood. Deep down, you knew something didn't feel right, but you ignored it. You believed being kind meant being constantly accessible. You confused love with self-sacrifice, and all the while you slowly lost pieces of yourself, trying to keep everyone else comfortable. The turning point. Then something changed. Maybe it was a quiet moment when no one noticed you were struggling. Or maybe it was after one too many times of feeling drained, unappreciated, or ignored. But suddenly you stopped. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped rushing to reply. You stopped showing up where your presence wasn't valued. There was no big fight, no final message, no dramatic exit. You just pulled back, gently, silently. And in that space you found clarity. You realized that being less available didn't mean you were unkind. It meant you were choosing yourself for once. And that small choice started to change everything. The aftermath. At first, people don't understand. They notice you're different. You reply slower. You don't show up like you used to. You seem more distant. Some get confused. Others get upset. They're used to having easy access to you whenever they needed comfort, attention, or validation. But now that access is gone and it leaves them unsettled. The silence feels loud to them because they were used to your constant noise, your constant giving. Some people drift away without a word. Others try harder to come back, not because they miss you, but because they miss the version of you who gave without limits. And you start to see it clearly. They never valued you. They just valued the parts of you they could use. Reclaiming self. Now that you've stepped away from being constantly available, you begin to return to yourself. You start protecting your time like it matters, because it does. Your mornings feel quieter, and for once that quiet feels good. You stop reaching for your phone the moment you wake up. You stop rushing to solve problems that were never yours to begin with. Saying no becomes easier, and you no longer feel the need to explain it. You find peace in doing less, in not responding right away, in letting others handle their own emotions. Slowly, you realize that your worth was never meant to be proved, it was meant to be lived. And now you're finally doing just that. You rest without guilt. You breathe easier. You laugh more, worry less. You are no longer exhausted from carrying everyone else. You're lighter, and it shows. The transformation. As time passes, something deeper begins to shift. You're not just protecting your time. You're protecting your peace, your energy, your entire way of being. You speak less, but your words carry more weight. You don't rush to explain yourself anymore, especially to people who never really listened. The things that used to bother you feel smaller now. Silence doesn't scare you, it soothes you. You no longer need to be understood to feel okay. You no longer bend yourself just to be accepted. And the people who once took you for granted start noticing your absence. They don't know how to reach you anymore. Not because you've built walls, but because you've built boundaries. You're not hiding, you're healing, and healing has made you strong in a quiet, unshakable way. Arrival. Now you've arrived not at a destination but in yourself. You're no longer chasing people, approval, or validation. You're not shrinking to fit into spaces that don't feel right. You're grounded, steady, calm. You've stopped performing your worth and started protecting it. You've stopped explaining your boundaries and started living them. The peace you feel now isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet but powerful. You don't need attention to feel seen. You've seen yourself, and that changes everything. The people who truly get you will meet you with clarity, with respect, with intention. The rest will fall away, not because you pushed them out, but because you finally stopped lowering yourself to stay in places you've outgrown. You're not disappearing, you're finally showing up as your full true self. And this time you're not asking for space. You are the space.